Hey, lighten up, jerk!
The so as far as the historical sites in India, what did you like to see there? Like what would you recommend?
The
to go?
temples.
The temples.
Yeah, the temples are actually.
Yeah,
that's what I was.
I guess we're all going
both
to
of you
India.
guys. Yeah.
Let's do it.
because Israel. I know exactly the places I want to go see in Israel because is there's no surprise here on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm a huge biblical scholar, so I want to go to the places that are all the biblical places to go there. I kind of want to, like if I go to Korea or Japan, I want to go see go into the countryside, see all the historical places there. England, all of Europe has.
Yeah.
I mean, it's thousands of years of history where, I love the United States and I love the history that's here, but it's only a couple hundred years old, whereas.
Yeah, and there's so much beauty in the world. Why not explore that? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
To think that your country is just it. That's ignorant, right?
No
matter
yeah.
where you are, right? But to be like, hey, we have this and that's great, but there's other parts of the world that are amazing in other things, and to appreciate that, that idea in itself, I feel like cuts down a lot of the ignorance.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
Because people ask me all the time where my favorite city in the world is, and to this day, it's Los Angeles. It is. I can't.
I hate the city, but I love the city.
I
Live and die in
love
LA.
I love it. And I think the more I travel, the more I love it. Right. And it's my home, right? Like Southern California in general is my home. So, and if I say any other city, there's a part of me that just won't fully believe it. Right. Because I have so much love here, But I do believe that there's so many other places in the world that, they have that LA doesn't, and I appreciate that. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna start talking smack about my place. You know what I mean?
Exactly right. I think as far as traveling abroad, I think that also helps to appreciate where you come from at the same time. Yeah,
for sure.
It's these places are great, but God, it's so good to be home.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I love my bed. My bed is the best feeling ever.
I love my own bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love my space. Yeah, you really appreciate home for sure. And I think that's an attitude, right? If you choose to learn and you choose to be appreciative and have a heart of gratitude, then that will carry on at home too.
Right. So the temples in India are something that you recommend?
It is so cool. There's so many spots in India that I can recommend, and we'll talk about that later because there's just a whole list of stuff and a bunch of other things like nature and everything. But historically, temples, they're actually incredibly fascinating. If you see the craftsmanship.
I always appreciate that.
Yeah,
it being because I studied architecture and all that stuff. It's fun.
There's so much love.
Right.
In their art, when they're building these temples. So I think you'd really appreciate that. Also, another great historical place is Egypt.
Yeah. What did you like in Egypt the most?
Oh my God.
Was it the pyramids or because obviously everyone thinks of the pyramid of Giza or the Sphinx. Is there anything else that you would recommend?
I mean, you absolutely should visit the pyramids.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I want to.
Yeah, and the reason is because whatever you see on TV, whatever you see on the computer, just does not compare to
They're
the
huge.
magnitude of what you see.
They're giants.
And it really, I mean, it's just like blocks if you think about it, but it just the energy and the magnitude of it just kind of blows you away.
What I'm always fascinated when it comes to the pyramids is we kind of think of the ancients as being, these, dumb, they didn't know anything, but the engineering that went behind the pyramids, I mean, it's they didn't have the technology that we have today for accuracy, but they're more accurate than we are today almost, where I forget which pyramid or temple that they have there, but they had to do it so perfectly where at a certain point of the day the sun hits it at the right point and it just illuminates the entire temple, and it was based off their worship that they did back then, but the engineering that went behind that is just completely it blows your mind.
It blows your mind. I went to King Tut, and I was the one reading every single little thing, and I was like, where's the question about this? Where's the answer on this? I was so pissed because I had so many questions, even though I was reading all the information provided. And it was so incredibly fascinating. It's just so interesting. And the thing is, from what I understand and from what I've been told, even Egyptians in Egypt don't really know how the pyramids were made.
Right.
Like they don't know. They don't really know.
Yeah, the knowledge wasn't passed down.
Yeah, so they know. They actually believe in magic. They believe in aliens.
Obviously,
right?
yeah.
It's because like they're like, how else can you explain this?
Right. There's so many theories. Like from a biblical perspective, we would the Jews were the part of that, but. Even then, like you had people who were building those things where it was kind of a worship to the pharaoh and like their gods, and it was an honor to build those
exactly
pyramids.
Yes,
and,
it was, yeah.
And so there was part of that too, and it's like, well,
it was out of love. And,
was it all of that, or was it some of it, or yeah? And then you get the people. It's like, oh, it was aliens that did it. It's like there's no way that humans had that knowledge or understanding of things. I don't tend to agree with that. I do believe that it was like I'm one of those crazy people. I think the ancients were a hell of a lot smarter than we are today. Even the best and brightest that we have, like pale in comparison to the knowledge that they had back then.
I mean, they definitely knew and saw something. For
Absolutely,
sure.
definitely.
For sure. If you look at their art and you see their writing, you question a lot of things that you know. You question a lot of
Absolutely.
things, and you're like, what do I know, right? What do I know, right? And I'm in no position to deny whatever they saw or experienced. I mean, I can make my own judgments on it, but it's so fascinating to see where they were. We only have a glimpse of it, and it's just the most amazing thing. Imagine like what we don't know, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Which is really cool. So I would recommend Egypt for sure. Also, the Nile. I stayed in a hotel that was a boat on the Nile.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so my view was the Nile. I would wake up to the Nile on the rooftop, and they would go around the Nile like.
I mean, that's a huge river.
crazy.
Like how I mean, obviously you've been there, so like how big is that river?
Oh, it's massive. But if you just look at it, right, you're just like, oh, it's just water. Okay, like I looked at it visually, and I looked at it like internally, like visually. It's like it's just water. But why does it feel like magic?
Yeah, right.
You're like, there's so much energy here, and there's so much like I don't know how to describe it, but it was just like I feel like I was like I needed that, like I needed this
Right.
this energy, and it was like very powerful and uplifting, and I was addicted to it.
That's
you
so
know,
cool.
and I'm like, it's so strange because if you just look at it, it's just water, right? Like
Yeah.
truly, it's water. But why is it more than just that? Like I feel it. I feel the history. I feel the energy.
Right.
And that's fascinating.
This is why I love history so much, because you go to these historical places and you almost like you hear like the ghosts that are whispering from the past from those places.
That's a great way to say
Yeah, because
that.
one of my favorite loves. I'm a sports guy, and you go to some of the exactly. But racing, same thing. You go to the big historical racetracks, and you can feel the ghosts of like the past drivers from way back in the
And then
in time.
the energy, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
and the same thing with those historical sites. Like, I've been to back to the East Coast. I went to like Virginia and like all of the Civil War sites, and it's like you can feel the energy of like all the past, everyone that was there, and it's just there's something it's one of those weird things. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like you can feel the people that were there.
It's bigger than you.
Exactly.
It's beyond what you can see, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where spirituality comes in.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're like, we believe in it because it's hard. You can't find words, but it's a connection. Like you feel it, and someone else feels it too, and that validates what's going on.
Even though you're separated by potentially thousands of years, like you're now connected with those people from way back when.
Yeah, it's a beautiful feeling.
Yeah.
For you, another party place I recommend is Taiwan.
Oh, really?
Definitely.
Have you been to Taiwan?
No, I never had an interest. I've been to Thailand though. Thailand was awesome. Thailand was crazy all
I
around.
went to Taiwan because my best friend got married there, and she was like, Christina, because she knows the places I like to travel to, and she's like, Christina, I think you're gonna really like it, and she was like trying to sell me on it. I was like, girl, I don't even care. I'm gonna go for your wedding, right? So I stayed there for a couple days afterwards, and honestly, going there by myself and socialize, it was just the coolest.
Really?
It was one of the coolest times I've had, because Taiwanese are extremely friendly. extremely friendly, and they're super fun. So I had like chicks just coming up to me and like wanting to dance with me and like drink with them and stuff, and they're just cool. Like, it's not like they're trying to pull me in for their guys. Like, their guys weren't even like paying attention. I mean, a little bit, but not really. That was not the point. Right. They're just there like, oh, you look so much fun. Like, let's have a good time. Like, okay. Like, you look it was such a good vibe. It's such a good energy. And every place I went to, it was the same energy and vibe where everyone's just trying to have a good time. Like, they're extremely friendly. You wouldn't really expect that in a place like Korea. I had a hard time in Korea, like, in terms of socializing. I'd always have to play the I'm American card, so they would be like, okay, you're a little weird, but it makes sense. It's okay, right? But in Taiwan, I didn't get that at all.
Wow.
It was just so much fun. I was extremely surprised.
Yeah,
the food is so good. Like, the street food is really good. So there was this one breakfast place that I would go to every morning when I was staying in the hotel. And the guys, like, knew me, and they would, like, bring the food downstairs for me and stuff. Like, I couldn't stop eating their food. Like, it's amazing. I think you would really like it. And it's not a typical place you would think of to party.
Yeah.
But whenever I went out, I had just a very social time.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's so easy to integrate yourself into the culture and the people. I went to a restaurant the first night I landed, right? I was like, I'm going to get some like beef noodle soup or whatever. So I walked somewhere randomly by myself, and I felt super safe. It's a super safe place, so I'd recommend a lot of women to go there as well. And I was just sitting down at a table trying to order something, and this table next to me just started talking to me, and they're like, hey, like, you know, welcome here, we're excited, yada yada yada. And they like helped me with the menu. They were just so friendly, right? And it was very pure, it was very kind, and
Really cool.
I loved it.
Yeah, for me, Thailand was like number one. I haven't been to too many places, but it was so fun, nice people, very naturey. But I'll definitely consider Taiwan. I think maybe a lot of it also why people are friendly with you is because you're like an attractive young female, you know.
That definitely
It might be
helps.
different if like if like we go, they'll be like, "Who the hell are you?" No, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
but
you know, I do.
I get what you're saying, though,
Yeah, like if like Taiwan, like there's so many countries that I go to, and I compare like the energy that I get from people, right? And some of them is like very like, oh my god, hi, and some of them is like, oh hey, like you're fun, right? Because you exchange that energy with other people, right? So you kind of feel it, and you go with it or you don't, depending on wherever you're at. And I feel like with Taiwan, it was just like a very like fun energy.
Okay.
Like people were just trying to have fun, and I was socializing with everybody, and so maybe that's why it attracted a lot of people to like want me to hang out with them. But I never felt that much of like a social energy from a place before. I know, right? Taiwan, you wouldn't really think that, but it's just, if you ask anybody who's been to Taiwan, it's so cool.
Yeah, I've got Taiwanese friends.
It's
I'll
such
holler
a
at
cool
them.
place. It's so freaking
I hear
cool.
good things.
Very
I hear
cool,
good
yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
freaking cool. Like, I did not expect that experience when I went. I was just like, okay, Taiwan is so close to Korea, like whatever. But it was so cool.
Thanks for the recommendation. I'll
Yeah.
definitely consider.